Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. So nice to have you here. Hello, Jen and Clevis. Welcome. Beautiful Saturday morning here in, kind of cloudy, but it's Saturday morning. So welcome. Welcome to all of you, and welcome back to what will be regular live streams where we can chat and ask questions. And I hope that if you watch some of the videos that I'm recording during the week, that you have questions, anything you would like to share from those videos, I'd be happy to go into further detail as well. There's always things that I miss, and I will be sharing some of those things with you today. So I thought, I pulled out the Llewellyn Tarot. It's handy on my table. I would start with a reading for today, for this day of Saturn. The moon is beginning to wane, and I hope that each of you are taking that into consideration in how you respond to your day's activities. We are well into the present zodiacal sign, and soon, oh my goodness, I can't believe it, I just turned over my calendar. How soon we'll be going into Pisces. Wow. Okay. When do we go into Pisces? Sorry, I'm a little distracted this morning. When do we go into Pisces? Next weekend? Can't find it on my calendar. Okay. All right. So I'm here. I'm going to shuffle the cards, and I want to focus on the energy of what is happening geopolitically, and to bring that energy to something inward, a reflection of that energy to something inward. So the question is this: how can we navigate these tense vibrations? And you may have a particular event, a particular situation in mind. So when we bring that to the personal, what is it that we need to know in processing that energy? Because I really think that if we start at home, if we start with ourselves, then we have a chance to allow these reverberations to make a difference in the world. So, yeah, let's do that. And welcome to Dee and Sarah. Lovely to have you here as well. And thank you for that. February 19th. I so seldom use the full size of these cards, and actually I really, really like them. Especially now that I'm working with Legend, the Arthurian Tarot, and can gaze at some of the titles on these cards. Having a hard time shuffling this morning. February 19th, the sun will move into Pisces. Did I say differently? Okay. And as always, I ask this reflection, this reading be in the highest for the greatest good, and that no harm be done. So be it. Look at this beautiful page of cups. What strikes me in this card is the way that the page has chosen to be fully in the water. And I am smiling because I was reflecting on something very similar this morning. Oh my goodness. Okay. And this has to do with processing of the life's greatest challenges. So let me go back. So this morning I was going to do a tarot class, but I had a very poor sleep last night and I decided to not do that. And I was reflecting on Jupiter in Sagittarius and Jupiter in Pisces. And I was thinking about this relationship, these nights, the night of fire, the night of cups, and their journeys and their spiritual journeys and their quests in Sagittarius and in Pisces. And the fact that we go from fire to water. And what is this story of the journey from Sagittarius to Pisces? And so I was sitting and reflecting on this and thinking about Jupiter as the guru planet, which it comes from Vedic astrology. And I'm thinking about my own guru, and I'm thinking about how often with spiritual tradition you start with something quite stern, and gurus can be quite they demand discipline, and kind of like the crack of a whip that you might hear in a wand card. There's tremendous energy, and the concept of discipline is really important. And then when we take the spiritual journey evolves into Pisces, we are absolutely required to feel. And our evolution, our awakening will, the feeling part of it is so important. And so when I look at this Page of Cups card, what I'm thinking about is we can't deal with our stuff if we don't feel it. So whatever came to mind when I prompted this question in the external, now sit with that and ask yourself, where do I feel this within myself? Get into the water, like the Page of Cups is getting right into the water. There is no fear. I imagine the page here is crossing some stepping stones on a river, and there's no fear of getting wet. They are fully engaged. They trust the water. They know that their journey is through the water. And so I think this is a great invitation to all of us to get into the water, to let emotions rise, because that is part of the process. And I think about Ananda Shakti, and all the times I asked her, I said, why do I cry at sporting events or at the most ridiculous of romantic films? And she said, you don't need to know why you cry. Just process it. Just let the tears cleanse. Get into the water. And so I feel like this page is really inviting us in there. I'm going to pull two more cards. Love this gorgeous cauldron. This is the universe card in this deck. And it's almost as if the way through is through the water. So we don't have a mandorla in this deck. We have a cauldron. And so I feel like the invitation, the way to get through what you are trying to get through is through the water. And that might seem like a really funny thing to say, with the universe card, which is usually associated with Earth, the element of Earth, and Earth, the planet Earth itself. But there's something here that is, and you in the chat, you're talking about snow and snowdrifts, and we have this frozen land around this cauldron, and the ice surrounds almost like this magical portal here. We have another portal gateway in the Two of Wands. So I feel like the message this morning is to take some time to stop and to feel, because the pathway through will not be known until you allow those feelings to arise. And then it will be time to set a new intention. There's something kind of timely here about this. I don't know, it just feels like there's a few other layers of connection here. Planetary, seasonal. I like that. Let yourself feel this weekend and see if that will help you to move through that which you are struggling with. So, this tarot deck that I'm going to be diving deep into over the next months, called Legend, the Arthurian Tarot. And these are the backs of the cards. Julian's Bower, this beautiful labyrinth. I want to talk more about this, and if you have missed what's going on there, I am also going to be pulling in cards from Claire Duval's Tarot Arthurian, and I have also ordered the Arthurian Tarot that was created many years ago by Kathleen and John Matthews. And so that will be coming soon. So that will become part of this story. I've wanted to dive into Legend, the Arthurian Tarot for a long time. And I'm really glad. It feels like for me, it's just the perfect time to do that. So, a few things. One, I read the short bit of the story from the Fool card, which was Percival, Peredur, and there were a few things that I didn't touch on. And one that is really cool is that the subtitle for this deck, or I'm not sure if it is just the subtitle for the book, a keeper of words. So a keeper of words refers to Percival himself, the name that he was dubbed, not in the story of the Fool card, but later on in his journey when he healed the wasteland and asked the Grail question. And so in a way, having Percival as the Fool card in this deck and as the title of the book is just a great card for a new beginning. And I loved some of your comments. I really appreciated you chiming in. And if you don't have this deck, it is out of print. That's why I'm going to be including the Arthurian Tarot by Kathleen and John Matthews in my study, so that you can all partake and don't need to feel excluded because you don't have a out-of-print deck. So I want to take out say one other thing about the character of Peredur or Percival, which is also the Fool card in the Llewellyn Tarot. There is a part of this story. So I was reading the Peredur legend in the Llewellyn Tarot Guidebook, as well as in the Arthurian Tarot Guidebook. And one of the things I said was that I really feel like Anna Marie Ferguson grew up from the time she created the Arthurian deck to the Llewellyn deck. There is, I don't know, there's something about her, the way that she writes. She was about 29 years old when the first deck came out, and then about 40 years old when the second deck came out. So I think she really was working with these tales. This is the Fool card from this particular deck. And so here we see the Percival on his way to Camelot, opposed to, in the legend, we see Percival arriving in the grounds of Camelot. So it's exciting to compare and contrast the stories and the development of that. But one of the things in the Llewellyn Tarot that really touched my heart was part of the story when Percival arrives in the court, and there are dwarves that serve the king. And I can read it, I suppose, but from my memory, it, and also when I think about other epic tales and movies and TV shows, there's an abuse of little people. There is an abuse of people who are different. And what really touched me in this story was that Percival is a defender of those who can't stand up for themselves. And I think that is a really interesting quality to consider in a Fool card, the character represented by the Fool card, that it's almost as if there's more to their naivety. They want to protect something. They want to protect the innocence of the archetype of the Fool, something like that. So I'm just going to read this paragraph here. Meanwhile, at Arthur's court, a knight tried to provoke a fight by throwing liquor in the face of the queen and making off with a golden cup. He then camped in the meadow below the castle, awaiting a knight to champion the queen and avenge the insult. As the court pondered the challenge, Peredur entered the hall on his pony. To the dismay of onlookers, he rode the length of the room and announced to Kai, Arthur's seneschal, that he had come for his knighthood. Kai then led the court in making fun of the Fool, at which time two dwarves objected, referring to Peredur as chief of warriors, foreshadowing his supremacy in arms. This only served to fuel Kai's anger, who then sent the innocent Fool out to challenge the knight in the meadow, whom all others feared to fight. Maybe I got that wrong. So it was the dwarves that defended Peredur. But there's something here. There's a piece that I want to sit and think about, and that is the power of how important it is to protect the energy of the Fool within each of us. Do you know the Sasarai Bito Fool? I think that's such a lovely card. And if you go back to my video on favorite Fool cards, there's a few of them there. I think there was one in maybe John Bauer is a great one. That is a younger person. But there's one where an older person and a younger person are talking to each other. And there's a capturing of the innocence of this archetype. So my purpose for these kinds of studies and deck deep dives is to maybe expand my perception of what the archetype represents. And so I'm really excited to dive into these stories. And I really look forward to all of your contributions along the way. So thank you. All right. What else is happening? So I am doing monthly themes, and I say monthly very roughly. I'm going to be doing side-by-sides and comparing decks and having a look at commonalities, trying to discover nuances of decks by theme. And I'm starting with Waite-Smith decks. And so I did a side-by-side of the Centennial and this one, which was really interesting because I hadn't done a side-by-side of this. This is a Lo Scarabeo version of the Waite-Smith Tarot. And then the other one I had there did have the original Cracklebacks from the Pam A, and it is the European publication AGM. This box, and I showed the German version of the deck. And one of the things I didn't discuss was, now I'm not an expert on the early versions of this deck, but now I am rereading. I reread the section from the front of the Secrets of the Waite-Smith Tarot this morning, and just wondering, I'm so curious about the process of redrawing a deck and the journey of the redrawing of lost cards and lost plates, and what it takes to make a facsimile, and why certain printers choose to go in certain color directions. And so this is the one I just showed you in that sort of blue box, this one. And I really didn't like this deck. This one has the Tudor back, the colored Tudor back, the red and black Tudor back, not the light blue one. Because I felt like with these smaller cards, everything got a little bit squished up. And also the reds are really, really red and kind of weird in certain places. The face colorings, the skin tones. And I was looking at, I don't have the 1909, but I can pick it up because I have a feeling this one is very, I'm not sure. Believe it or not, I'm going to pick up a couple more RWS decks to carry on with this month's talk. I do have a lot, but I am going to pick up a couple more because I'm curious. And so the thing here is that I was comparing this deck to the Pam B, and it looks like this is very similar to that. And I didn't comment on that walkthrough on some of the little difference. And this one doesn't have the little squiggle up at the top of the sun like the Centennial, and the other one that I showed you do. So I think I could go even a little further than I did this week in the pre-recorded video. So if you are more of an expert than me in all of this, please feel free to chime in, because I don't know, I'm at this place where I've studied this deck for a long time and I just want to learn more and get into the mind space, the head space of Pamela Coleman Smith. And I want to talk a little bit more about that. But hello to Marie France, welcome to you. And I see that Amelia is here. Welcome to you as well. It was in Secrets of the Waitsmith, I believe, and somewhere near the beginning, Pamela writes that they won't get the color right. That is a paraphrase. But she knows, no matter how careful she is with the coloring in her ink drawings, that the printer is going to screw it up. And it's said with such humor. And when I was reading that and thinking about this, and all of the energy that I have put into studying the colors and comparing the colors, and it makes me laugh because I wonder, we will never know the exact colors that Pamela Coleman Smith colored her pages with. That will be a mystery unless by some miracle those pages are ever found one day. And in the I don't know if I have the article open. There are quite a few articles on the early Rider-Waite Tarot editions, and there is one article that talks about the fact that even though the printer was burned in Plymouth, where the plates for the Rider Tarot would have been, that through the research he has done, he's not entirely sure that that is true. So it's it's funny. That's funny. And if you are interested in any of these articles, you haven't found them or read them, let me know, and I can link them below, or I'll link some of them in the next episode. Yeah. And if you have any, hi Donna, welcome. And if you have any of, I don't even know what to call them, the facsimiles of the Waite-Smith Tarot that you want me to look at, let me know. So I thought this week I would do Albano Waite. It's got some really interesting colors. And Wiser and Universal. Yeah, that's one word. And the word, a lot of the writers use the word facsimile. I don't think they're reproductions. You love the Albany. So you know that I am teaching 2 tarot courses, or one is finished some time ago, Tarot Through the Planets, and more recently Tarot Foundations 2. And in these classes, there's a lot of discussion about planets and the decans and the wheel, the decan wheel. Excuse me. And when I took out the Albano Waite recently, I was looking at, I think it was the 5 of Cups. I'll make sure I point it out when I do the walkthrough this week. And I then what I did was that prompted me to go and get all of the Mars decan cards, because I wondered if in the Albano Waite it is colored by planet. And to me, that'd be really, really exciting, because in the 5 of Cups, I think it's that card, it's all red in the background. And the 5 of Cups, if you know that card, is it's a Martial decan, it's a 5 Sephira, and it is Scorpio. So it's Mars, 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 and it's a red, red, red card. Well, unfortunately, I was disappointed. All the Mars decans don't have red on them, but it was a nice thought. So I'm really looking forward to going through that one. And the Wiser is super colorful. And I have to say, in some of these more colored decks, there is an opportunity to work with color more. You know, if you work with the energy of color, either just through the frequencies of color, or if you have chakra associations or something. Silver Spiral Tarot. Hello, Catherine. Welcome. I need to write your name down. I saw your comment earlier, and I need to, I probably have it written in my magic list somewhere. So thank you for saying your name today. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Okay, so I got a new deck. This one. This is Monica Saki's second deck. So the Saki Tarot is out of print, and this is her second deck. And I saw one of my former tarot students reading with this live on YouTube. You know, it makes me so happy when I see, you know, my students shining bright, sharing their readings. It was really kind of joyful. So she was using this deck. And I asked her what it was, and she told me. And I went to the Monica Cleo's website, the Saki website, to look at it. There's a little pamphlet that has the chakra colors. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but it opens up. So maybe a place to sort the cards. And I really didn't give this deck much of a, oh, that's cool. This is her logo, or her symbol, her sign on the back. That's really, really interesting. So I loved the bright colors on the cards. This is an extra card. There's, I think, 5 significator cards with the deck. There was something about the colors, and at that time, because I wasn't really paying attention, there are planetary symbols and Hebrew letters on these cards. And one of the things that I want to do next is study the Hebrew letters, and to dive a little bit deeper into the paths on the tree of life and the nuances of the Hebrew letters. And this deck, she has added the Hebrew letters and the planets. And I know there's lots of decks that do that. But I was really intrigued. So I've been reading the book that goes with this deck. And I don't have the Saki tarot. Apparently there's headless people in the Saki. And in her story, she explains what or how the heads have evolved. Hello, Aisha. I'm not doing readings today. And why the heads or the bodies have now been filled out, and how headless to bodies with heads has become part of her own story and her evolvement, development. So I'm going to finish that book. Then I will do a walkthrough of this deck and give you some feedback. And it's really quirky, and I'm hoping that in its quirkiness, that the esoteric energy doesn't get lost. Hey, Kristen, welcome. So I'm kind of excited about that. So many things, always to study and to learn. Does anybody have this deck? Has anybody been reading with it? Let me know. Oh, Kristen, this is the I Am the Artist Tarot by Monica Saki. So it's the second tarot deck by that creator. I Am the Artist. And you know, the beginning of her book is so inspirational. It says that the artist comes in many forms. I think that book is a standalone book. It's so full of inspiration and really gets you to think about your own art, your own creativity, and the power of leaning into that. Yeah, so I'm really excited to spend some more time finishing that book, and then I will share away with you. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I have for today. If you have any questions about what's coming out of my channel, there's a little bit of time. You can put that into the chat. Oh, well, I appreciate that. Okay, so I do want to talk about this. And if any of you are content creators or content creators are watching this, this will be of more interest to you. And also your feedback is really important. Do you know Cesar from 78 Puertos? He has a amazing tarot channel on YouTube. And he commented that he's really been appreciating the pre-recorded videos because he doesn't enjoy watching live stream. He doesn't like these chatty kind of things. And I know that there are a lot of people out there like that. And whenever I make a pre-recorded video, over the long term, it always does better than a live stream. Very few people rewatch live streams unless it's a super popular deck or a super popular topic. The pre-recorded videos tend to do better. And the reason that I was this is something that I need to start collecting, and I will put those underneath all of the videos. Yeah. Okay, so what I want to say is this. The reason that do you know that I did like 2,000 live streams over, anyway, incredible number, because it's easier. It's easier. There's no editing. I don't have to upload it. I suppose it's lazy. I know some people don't like doing live streams because there's some sort of fear around it. But it is also a time factor of when I can come on and how I can do this. So for those of you that create content, I'm really curious about your conundrums of producing content. Why do you do pre-recorded videos? Do you do live streams? How do you decide what to do, right? This is, it's really something. So, for example, I did 2 videos in I did 2 videos in January that were 25 tips. So I went through all of my tips from the Advent calendars, Advent calendar 2023 and Advent calendar 2024, and I gathered all of those tips together. And I was going to do it in one video, but it would be way too long, so I did 2. Those videos took so long to edit and to create and put together. It was a reminder that, wow, there's a lot of dedication that goes into doing pre-recorded videos. Marie France says, where was your comment on it? It's a time factor. Kristen says, I do pre-recorded videos because it would make me feel badly if I went live and no one showed up. Ah, okay. So I have gone live lots of times, and sometimes I go live when I know no one's going to show up, because then I can just focus on the delivery of the content. And so Saturdays and this particular time is about the chat, right? This is not about the cards so much and the content, and I'm not doing a walkthrough. This is a time to review. For me, I'm going to use this to review the week, the cards, the decks, and things that I've been working on. But I just wanted to share this with you. Amelia, Donna, I haven't done a pre-recorded video in over a year. Just didn't have time or energy for it while I was planning my big move. They do. They take a lot of time. Yeah. And you notice all of your little nuances in your voice and the extra breaths, and it's really something doing that editing. Emilia, I do pre-recorded videos simply because that way I am 100% sure I have the energy throughout the video. Live streams are fun. I grant you this. The interaction is wonderful. Yeah. Okay. All right. So just in closing today, I want to remind you about this reading and the synchronicity about the feelings. And I'm curious if this brought anything up for you, because there's a lot of conversation for me when I leave home and I go out to work in the community about all of the drama in politics and life right now. And I wonder how this is affecting all of us emotionally, mentally. And so when I think about these cards and I think about this reading, and I look at that cauldron card over on the left, the universe card, I think this also says that we're moving through something pretty big here. That the intensity of what is going on, we are feeling personally, and it will indeed be awakening something within us if we allow it to. It's like if you observe it and feel it, all of this insanity and craziness out there in the big wide world is going to help us individually too, if we give ourselves a chance to process it. And isn't that a good thing? That maybe this mad world that we are in right now is actually going to help us in some way. Do you have a fixed time for your live videos? So, Marie, I'm going to do them at this time only. So I'm going to do them at 11 a.m. What I said 12 earlier, but I'm going to do them at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. Eastern. So this is going to be my time. Yeah. Super intense. Sarah says, both myself and my friends have been struggling this week. In particular, lots going on for people personally and the collective, right? The collective is always reflected within. Yeah. So I want to send you all love and kindness and space, personal space, just for you, for doing whatever it is you need to do to take good care of yourself. And thanks for being here, and thank you for supporting my channel. You're all wonderful people, and I appreciate you so much. And I will see you next Saturday. Take good care. Namaste.